most girls that were into like being, social justice and all that stuff, it like makes you very tired and exhausted, like kind of always being,
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is they're all tired and exhausted.
They're always tired and exhausted, and then they don't have really good of an identity because white girls were kind of in the scope, so they all had to sort of become depressed, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're doing so much emotional labor all the time, right?
That's why
that would be tiring. I don't do any, apparently. So
no.
Yeah.
That's why if you actually like macro look out to why for example, the neurodivergent stuff, like why that stuff's so popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it's like basically it gives, white chicks like a chance to,
be something.
But it gives them, because it's sort of the new thing, right? Like depression wasn't even cutting it. Now they need to be like, I'm retarded. And I was like, we knew you guys are all retards.
Yeah. Well, they kind of just like, they painted themselves into a corner figuratively.
Basically, it's a bunch of chicks that were just like, white girls aren't enough. And they're like, I have something to say to the community. I have Down syndrome.
What do you think about a female only CrossFit gym? It's like a CrossFit gym, but you only do emotional labor. So you're training for emotional labor. It's all emotional labor, but it's equally exhausting as physical labor. Right, but you're getting better at emotional labor, but then you also get like a nice pump. Nice workout.
That's actually good stuff. It's an emotional gym.
Yeah, emotional gym. Like
holy
emotional
shit,
labor
that's
gym.
a pretty good sketch actually.
Yeah, that'd be good, right?
Dude, girls that are at an emotional gym because of all the emotional labor we're doing.
Yeah, they're just but they practice the emotional labor that they do at home.
Or even better, emotional laborers at Home Depot, like waiting to get picked up to have to do emotional labor.
Emotional day laborers. They're in the fucking pickup truck in a Home Depot parking lot, just a bunch of chicks. Guys pick them up. You go, I need some help with this emotional labor.
Yeah, guys pick them up.
I guess women would pick them up.
And what was the stuff they were saying? Like the emotional labor was like, having to remind you to call your mom or something like that.
It's just literally any talking to your boy. You go, hey, can you just like,
what is the
clean up?
Okay, what is the definition of emotional labor?
I don't know if there is an agreed upon emotional labor.
Oh my God. Emotional labor is the process of managing feelings and expressions to fulfill the emotional requirements of a job. More specifically, workers expected to regulate their emotions, interactions with customers. So, okay.
But it's never in the context of work environment.
Yeah,
ever.
Because I do understand the idea of, let's say you're with your family and you're kind of in charge of the event, right?
Yeah.
And you want everyone to be like happy and have a good time or something. So you are sort of like, it's essentially being a host does take energy. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. Everything takes energy.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
But, some of those things can be more draining. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought emotional labor was more like, hey, you're fucking, someone just in your family died and you're like the person who has to keep everybody sane, and it's like, taxing on you because everybody's relying on you. And then, I don't know. Like,
what is it, girls? So they're saying women are negs. We're just fed up. Emotional labor and diversity. There's a lot of articles on this. It's work specific role. It involves managing emotions during interactions to achieve professional goals to conform to work environments. So they're saying a lot of it is that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be pretty funny if it's girls lined up. They're emotional day laborers because 90% of it. Yeah.
The problem is like I just think about the
I'm
sketch.
Here for the emotional
I think
labor.
about the sketch. You go, like,
are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
You need Mexican women.
Excuse me. How are you
tough
feeling?
cast. This is a tough cast right here. This is a really tough cast.
Excuse me. How are you feeling?
It's like, I'm feeling bad. He goes, just lay it on me. Just lay it on me. I'm here for you. Don't hold back. Just lay it on me.
Just lay it on me. How's your relationship doing? I'm the emotional day labor.
That's funny.
Oh my God. That sounds terrible.
Oh my God.
So they sort of manage the emotions. But yeah, it's a guy just being like, fuck this, fuck, whatever, these bitches. And he goes, honestly, you are right, Mr. Cooper. He does the emotional day labor of managing the boss.
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper, you're such a good guy.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sad, Mr.
Well,
Cooper.
but it's all women who are hiring the men.
But I don't know exactly what it means, what the emotional labor
They don't
is.
know what it means. That's the whole point.
Okay, what's an example
of emotional labor?
I'm going to look it up.
It's literally like telling your husband to fucking like, hey, can you put your shoes away? That's emotional labor.
I think everything is
emotional labor. That's why you can't find a definition for it. That's the way it's used.
Okay, the insistence that employees must smile at customers.
But that's in a work context. We never have discussed it in the context of a job.
Hey, Mr. Cooper,
always in
check
context
it out.
of real life.
That's me smiling.
But it's never like that.
No, he smiles for you. So they're the customers, and you have the emotional day laborer that stands beside you and smiles. Work. You're right. But all the examples here, prevention. So if a customer's rude and you have to manage their emotions, so they're saying like
that's
this.
customer service. That's not. You can't call that emotional labor. That's just a part of your job.
But you're right. I think they're saying anything that uses energy, they're kind of considering emotional labor.
That's
you know what I mean?
when a woman has to expend energy. For a thing.
Wikipedia's got emotional labor.
Okay, what does Wikipedia say about this?
Wikipedia says the term also applies in modern context to refer to emotional tasks such as unpaid labor of women. Wikipedia is pretty fucking in it right now with all the stuff. Eh?
Oh yeah.
Planning celebrations or planning celebrations.
Yeah, planning a birthday party. That's emotional labor. So fucking don't do it then. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You're the one who
You
wants
think the guy wants a
celebration.
birthday party so badly? This is mostly for you anyway.
I've had that fight with every girl I've ever dated where I go, I don't want to do anything for my birthday. And then they're just like, well, what are we doing for your birthday? Like, what's going on? Like, blah, blah. And it's like, no. You got to choose your birthday and I'm choosing mine. Nothing.
And then they do something and then they blame you for making them do emotional labor.
Exactly.
And you go, I lost twice?
Yeah, I didn't want to do the birthday event and I don't want you to do the emotional
So I just
labor.
took 2 L's somehow?
No, it
On
is-
my birthday.
No, I actually never want girls to do anything too because I know how much like fucking because this stuff they like doing it, but they also want credit for it, and I'm like, I'm not giving you credit. I'd rather just know whatever it is. I don't.
Yeah, not everything's a transaction like that. It shouldn't be like where I go, I have to fucking say thank you for the next month.
Well, everything is a transaction. As you get older, you do realize that.
I know.
Everything is an inventory, but I will say on the other side of it, I'm sort of low-key keeping inventory as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't pay attention to that shit too much.
You know, you do naturally though.
I do naturally, yeah.
You don't have to. It's just
you're
like-
just basically you put it in your like argument file folder.
you're like
it's evidence. It's in the
You're
evidence
right,
locker.
It's in the evidence locker.
Yeah, it just goes right in the fucking argument evidence locker. And then when you have the next one, you go, let me just go. I present to you Exhibit B. That time you were a bitch to me when we went over to my family's house.
Hey, Mr. Cooper, I planned your birthday for $4 an hour. They're emotional labor.
Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that.
I think. Oh yeah, okay? We'll just have a guy emotional labor. I find
maybe
guys aren't capable of emotional labor. That's why that's
Well,
the girl emotional labor.
Well, that's why maybe it's funny is chicks go hire
reminding their
Mexican dudes.
partners to do chores. That was in the article.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Cooper, it's time for you to take the dishes out. Thank you, Carlos.
Like honestly, I would love for fucking women to just get one taste of guys all of a sudden every time they ask to be like, okay, this is emotional labor. I'm gonna do it. But
There's
I'm
a
not.
lot of articles kind of popping up of girls that transition into a guy and like complaining that like her life's crappier now. Like not like because she wanted to be a guy, but saying like I didn't realize like no one's nice to me anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
like
Oh
that.
yeah, I chopped off my tits. I get treated differently. You don't say.
Yeah. But now, they went from like a girl to like a 5 foot tall guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just like wow, holy shit! Like my life is harder now.
Yeah. I could have told you that. That was pretty predictable.
Dude, there's like, to talk about people getting rid of their privilege. Like, imagine being a hot chick that you're gonna turn yourself into like a tiny little guy.
Yeah.
With no dick.
And I mean the sad,
tiny little dickless man.
The sad thing is they probably go, no, well, because I'm still under the LGBT umbrella, so
Yeah.
privilege down, like
It's privilege
victimhood
down,
up.
privilege up. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But that
And then
stuff's
they go
all
like,
sort of like.
But then they go, well, if you truly want.
But
to
as
be
soon
this-
as you leave your bubble and just try to live like a normal guy, like I'm a guy on a construction site with no dick and fucking, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like you literally traded off the easiest life for a crappy life. And not because you're trans, because you're a fucking,
yeah, because a woman, but that's who they really are.
But that's so funny. Emotional labor is planning celebration. So it's like you
Yeah.
hire the emotional day labor and he just comes out and he goes, Mr. Cooper, it's time to vacuum. Why don't you, know what you have to do? You need to hire a laborer and you have to hire an emotional laborer that reminds him to do it. So you come and we're going to hire 5 laborers to come set this deck up and we're going to hire 3 emotional laborers to remind them. Hey, just reminding you to put the bricks down. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to have that in my brain.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to have my wife tell me that so that I fucking owe her something now.
Aha. Yeah. Your wife's like, hey, can you remind me? I have someone that does that for me.
Carlos, we're paying him quite handsomely. Go inside.
Remember to call your mom. Carlos, did you have something to say? Call your mom, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Found it, Carlos.
Found it, Carlos.
And the wife's like, you've been spending kind of a lot of time with Carlos lately.
Well, yeah, he's my emotional day
Yeah,
laborer.
I mean, he kind of replaced you for the most part, so
I don't-
we can have a better relationship.
You're going to bed. Carlos comes in. He just pops into the room. Mr. Carlos, time to brush your teeth. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos. Anytime your wife tells you anything.
Yeah, there you go. That Carlos just told me that, but I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Carlos just told me that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
thank
but-
you for nothing. This is the New Clips channel. Hit us with a subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. Thank you. Peace.